Hello everybody and welcome back to our PACG Overwatch broadcast. We have had so much fun today giving you guys these amazing Overwatch games. We just got finished watching University of Utah and Stanford with a pretty bad 4-0 sweep for University of Utah. Stanford didn't actually take a single point, didn't take a single payload, didn't take anything off of them on any of the maps. A little bit of a not so much upset that we saw going on right there. Things kind of falling how we predicted that they would. What do you think about that coming out of the previous game?
You caught a bad sweep, but for me that was incredibly fun to watch. I had a great time with that. I think Stanford had a lot of opportunities to test things out, things that they can look at the next VOD review, and come back a lot stronger next week. I think that's going to be the big takeaway from that. Meanwhile, Utah proved they're a very strong contender here as the PACG goes forward.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. University of Utah really put themselves in the brackets as top dog, at least for the division that they're in. Actually, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the next matchups that we have for you guys today. Up next is going to be Arizona versus UCLA. Some amazing teams that we've had the privilege of watching before. What do you think about these two teams, Sleek?
Again, I haven't had the pleasure of watching these teams in as much detail as you have, but at the same time, I have heard some very good things. There are some very impressive players across these two teams. I do believe you said UCLA has a top 20 player in North America on their team.
Yeah, at least. I know he's top 500. I'm not sure what his rank is specifically because it kind of flexes up and down. But no, right. UCLA is a phenomenal team. They are just ridiculous in every sense of the word.
All right. Well, that's incredibly exciting. I was hoping we could get a look at our schedule for the remainder of the matches we have today, because we have one more after that, if I am right. So I want to get that on screen, show it to you guys so you can know what's coming up. All right. But I guess I could just tell you. I know what it is. It's Oregon versus Arizona State, right? So if you're here for those boys, you're going to have to hang out just a little bit longer. But hey, stay a while. It's going to be a good show, you know?
Yeah, Oregon and Arizona State, those two teams we have had the pleasure of seeing a couple of times previously. Arizona State is a ridiculous contender. Last week they shut down University of Utah. And as we just got finished saying, University of Utah is not an easy team to shut down as they just stomped Stanford. But Oregon, they seem to be a team that on an individual basis, they're really good players. They have good compositions. They know what to do. They have a diverse pool of players that they can, diverse pool of characters rather, that they can work to their advantage. They just have to work better together as a team when they push onto points, when they decide to fall back, when they use their ultimates, what ultimates to use and when. Just a little bit of things that they can work together, synergize better as a team, and then they have a good shot, in my opinion, of actually taking down Arizona State, who, in my opinion, would be the leader in that division, which is the South Division, I think. Could be wrong. Yeah, South Division.
All right. Well, for me, I think that you make some very good comments there. I think it's going to be a bit of a common theme here in the early PACG for a lot of these sports. A lot of these schools didn't have teams before they had to field one for the PACG. We see that a lot in Rocket League, where I normally do my thing over there. So a lot of these teams have been together very long. Great players that will need the time to mesh together as a unit, and Oregon gonna be one of those teams for us here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they have such a good opportunity to be good. They have such an amazing opportunity to shine in their brackets and their divisions, but they just need to work together as a team better. That seems to be their number one fault or their number one flaw. Arizona State, on the counter, they've had so much practice. They played at DreamHack Dallas or Austin. DreamHack someplace in Texas recently, and they actually took down University of Utah. Both of those teams met up together in the brackets, and Arizona State actually did beat University of Utah. So Arizona State, they have been in this for a very long time. They know how to work together. They are just flawless in every sense of the word. Looks like we're actually ready to go ahead and take a look at today's specific matchup between University of Arizona, not Arizona State, do not get the two confused, and UCLA, one of the better teams in the entire PACG Overwatch tournament, in my opinion.
Yep, so here on the left-hand side, your roster for Arizona, your DPS players for the evening, Progress and not GM. Shielding them will be the mighty tanks, Agent Snow and Super Micro. Yugs will be supporting them from the flex role as Revenos keeps them all alive from the healer position.
As for UCLA, we are going to have their team captain Sang as their solo healer. Raxa and Pip, the deadly duo on DPS. Juggernaut is going to be the isolated tank main for UCLA. And Sareku and another Dax are going to be flexing it up. Maybe a little DPS, maybe a little bit of healer, maybe a little bit of tanks. We will just have to see whether or not UCLA decides to run them on tanks or healers, because I think Raxa and Pip have it down pat for DPS for UCLA. Let's talk about those guys for a minute. Sleek?
All right, I mean, what is there to say that hasn't already been said about UCLA's Raxa? This is a player that we've liked to talk about a lot at this desk in past weeks. That is that star player that we've talked about, that top 500 player who's made a mess of previous teams almost single-handedly, but Pip does his fair share of accenting his damage, covering what Raxa can't do, because no man can do it alone.
All the casters in here at the Overwatch booth have a little bit of a beef with Raxa, because we'll be talking about the game, we'll be trying to say things, and then Raxa will just come in with 5 headshots back to back, and we're like, oh, well, everything we just said is now irrelevant. Thanks, Raxa. He just does such a phenomenal job of shutting down people at any point in the game. There is not a single time in any matchup where Raxa is not a relevant player. On the flip side of that, University of Arizona's Agent Snow, in my opinion, is going to be their best player. We had the opportunity to see them recently, and they did against USC last week. Sorry. Agent Snow did a ridiculous good job on tanks, specifically Reinhardt.
So it's going to be a bit of the classic unstoppable force meets immovable object as Agent Snow tries to shield his team from the so very dangerous Raxa across the way. Well, I want to see from Arizona, when you're in that DPS slot against a player that gets talked about as much as Raxa, that you kind of get this itch in the back of the head. You're like,
yeah.
I want to be the guy who shuts that guy down.
Exactly.
I want to make the casters eat their words. Well, they'll get the chance to. So we're going to pop on over. Eichenwald going to be the opener for all of our matches this week here. I love this map. I've talked about why I've loved this map. What do you expect to see the team set up here?
I think it's going to be interesting. Like we noticed previously with University of Utah, Daddy J is another one of the good Widowmaker players that we have coming into this tournament, coupled along with Raxa and a few others like Shimex for a couple of the other teams. He elected to not run Widowmaker just because that first point on Eichenwald, it's so hard to get good line of sight. It's so hard to get headshots. I'm going to be curious to see whether or not Raxa actually decides to take Widowmaker or whether he decides to take McCree, which seems to be the other hitscan character that we see him play quite frequently. At the same time, for University of Arizona, iProgress is their main DPS player, and he is just phenomenal. I saw him play Soldier 76 last week and do just as good a job as anyone in the top 500. Looking at you, Raxa.
Well, for me, I would kind of like to see Raxa pull out the McCree then. I know the flanks are one of the... I mean, people love to set up in the choke point. They love to set up these damage spam compositions, make it really hard to advance. The way to work around that is, of course, going to be your flankers, your dive heroes. Raxa could then play the McCree, play the counter dive.
You stop the divers, exactly.
If you can get the damage spam going, get the counter dive going, it's an unbreakable board.
Oh, absolutely. I think the defense for either team is going to have to be what really hinges this game together, whether or not Arizona is going to be able to stop UCLA from pushing through. Pip and Raxa, so intimidating. The tanks as well. Juggernaut on Reinhardt. He's a juggernaut when he goes diving through those chokeholds. When he uses those flame strikes, he's so on point, and his earth shatters just are flawless. I think Arizona has a good shot of stopping them, but they are going to be at their best if they have any chance of stopping UCLA, who is, like you said, the unstoppable force in this matchup.
Still, want to give props to Arizona where they absolutely do belong. To be honest, they're actually my favorite to take this map here. And not at all because we've castered cursed Raxa so hard here in this pregame
Raxa.
But because I believe Agent Snow on that tank play is going to be such a big deal. Exactly. When you're breaking through those choke points, you need that really good Reinhardt, and then they're going to have the better opportunity to flex their skills there than maybe the DPS players.
A little bit of diversity coming out here in the caster booth, though. He thinks he have University of Arizona coming through. I have UCLA favored all the way. I am a big fan of the compositions that they run, the way that they're going to do it. We are just going to have to see as we move in onto the first point of Eichenwald. University of Arizona versus UCLA.
All right, now, prepping to go in here. I do believe it is going to be Arizona on the initial defense here. Going to be up to UCLA to open things up on the offense. What they do here, going to set the pace for the rest of the series here.
It looks like University of Arizona is already set up. Agent Snow on his fabled Reinhardt iProgress, electing to take Farah and the Mercy composition on Yugs. I saw Yugs play Mercy last week. He is absolutely phenomenal. It's going to be a really good composition. We're just going to have to see whether or not Arizona is going to be capable of stopping UCLA. It looks like Raxa is actually going to take his Widowmaker. No headshots so far. That's surprising.
And now Juggernaut living up to his name, shielded by the Zarya that roadhogged him so hard to kill, create so much space for his team, and could get some vital pickoffs early here.
Raxa kind of faltering a little bit. He's doing a good job of dealing damage, but they're not headshots. He's not getting the pickoffs that are so critical to actually pushing a point. It looks like it's Pip that's doing the majority of the damage, but Juggernaut falls. Arizona is actually doing a great job of stalling them as not GM falls to Sureku, though. iProgress takes out Raxa, but Sang immediately reses him.
Reynosa with the big coalescence there, keeping so many low members back up to manageable health. But now UCLA comes out with one of their own and sets up Reynosa to fall.
Another Dax using that coalescence, doing a phenomenal job of doing damage and healing as well. Agent Snow falling ridiculously low, but getting a clutch barrier from Super Micro, helping him stay alive just a little bit longer. Juggernaut and Pip coupled together with that Graviton Surge from Sureku cleans House of Arizona, and all 5 characters, with the exception of iProgress, who was already dead, falls.
UCLA, they do take the fight in convincing fashion. It was a very extended one, but the res onto Raxa did get some good battle. Let them keep that going. Allows them to establish the holy moly iProgress, caught out on his way back to spawn. Gonna give UCLA a little bit of free push here.
Yeah, you can't stream in like that. I'm not quite sure. It looks like iProgress may have been a little bit out of position. No, Raxa's actually just overextended and is just putting shots into the team. Headshot after headshot. Raxa! Gee, oh my, this is what I'm talking about.
It's not
How is that fair? How's that fair?
Because this is a mechanical skill-based game, and if you can do it, it's fair.
Exactly, exactly. There's Sleek. Raxa showing us just how capable Widowmaker can be in the right hands. Let's not count out the rest of his team, though, as Sang and Pip together are not letting anything into the backline. Raxa gets another headshot on Revenos and healed by Yugs, and he doesn't care. Raxa gets another headshot on Super Micro. That's 2 characters down for Arizona, and he does not have any intentions of stopping in the next couple of matches, in my opinion.
If he just keeps creating these man advantages for his team, Arizona can't properly group up like they want to. They can't set up the coherent defense there. iProgress cannot catch a break here.
Raxa with another clean, 2 clean headshots. Revenos goes down, iProgress goes down, and there we see Agent Snow. He knows he has to take out Raxa if his team has any chance. He gets in the backline. He does as good as anyone could to take out Raxa, and he does, but that's why UCLA always runs Mercy. You res Raxa, you res UCLA.
Sang, he knows his job and he's doing it, but Revenos with the damage orb will actually put Raxa down again. No res coming for you this time, buddy.
Not GM trying his best to put damage into UCLA. Without Raxa right there, it looks like they are going to fall down quite a bit. Another Dax using his Coalescence ultimate right there, coupled with a counter Juggernaut, an ultimate from Super Micro rather, and it looks like Arizona is going to be taking a majority of the benefits from that fight as Not GM cleans house, coupled with that Graviton Surge ultimate from Super Micro. Amazing team synergy from University of Arizona to halter UCLA's push.
Beautiful stuff. They're not letting themselves be intimidated. They're setting up the plays they need to, just playing some good textbook Overwatch. Know your combos, know your win conditions, play to them.
Exactly, exactly. It could have been all too easy for Super Micro to pop the Graviton Surge when her team is out of position. It actually looks like Sureku is going to counter, doubled with Pips. Oh my! Pip with the Rocket Barrage. 5 kills, a team kill from UCLA. You were just saying how you have to work those compositions together, use the Graviton Surges for your advantage, and UCLA did just that, Sleek.
Sureku doing so much, got everyone in the Graviton Surge, and the one person his far couldn't cleans up himself. Amazing.
Great, great team synergy coming out of UCLA, and Raxa has just got the opportunity to rain tear iProgress. Pops his tac visor. Raxa says, not on my watch, not on my push. Juggernaut, Pip, Sureku, everyone from UCLA is on fire with the exception of another Dax. It looks like he needs to be the only person to pick up his game a little bit, but even then, those Coalescence ultimates were integral earlier on in the game.
So we just saw iProgress lose a direct DPS duel against Raxa with the Tactical Visor ultimate. Is Raxa officially better than Aimbot?
No. No. Raxa's not better than Aimbot. I think it just came down to that there was a tank in the way, and Raxa, being the god that he is, shot through the tank and got the headshot and killed him because Raxa. So, Aimbot, it's a close call. I mean, you have a convincing case. I think you could put it Raxabot, actually, not necessarily Aimbot, because it is probably better if you do Raxabot, but I think Arizona just needs to get their stuff together. They showed us that they know how to work together as a team. They had that convincing Zarya ultimate coupled with the damage from McCree on iProgress, or was it Soldier 76? I can't necessarily remember, but they did a great job of coupling their ultimates and working together as a team, and that stopped UCLA dead in their tracks.
They were able to do just that, and that's just what you get when you play your Overwatch. You do it by the book, know what you're supposed to do, and you do it. And because Arizona is able to do that, even when under this extreme pressure, that's why I think they will have some answer back here, and they will be able to take the fight to UCLA as we go into our next round here with the Daggers and Defenders switched.
Oh, yeah, I think UCLA is going to have a little bit more difficult of a time on defense than they are going to do on offense. Like we said, Pip and Raxa seem to be the two highlight characters, or players rather, for their team composition. They are offense players. They like to push the payload. They like to take the point. Let's see how that they can kind of make things work in their favor on defense on second point on Eichenwald.
Do you expect we're going to see Raxa on the Widowmaker again? I know she's categorized as a defense here, but we know those labels are all a little bit of nonsense at times.
Probably not, just because of the flankers. Yeah, it looks like Raxa's actually going to be on McCree right there just to try and stop the flankers that he's assuming Arizona's going to be taking. Arizona choosing to go on the flanking route, like we previously said, trying to push through that chokehold as quickly as possible, and they do just that.
So not really choosing to set up at the payload, instead hanging around behind the clock tower. Agent Snow wants to press forward here, but taking a lot of damage. Gets on the payload, but Sirku puts him down.
Hit getting another good shot on Not GM. Looks like iProgress is in the back, trying to do his best to put damage into Juggernaut. However, he is getting fantastic healing from Sang and another Dax, not capable of out-damaging the healing that those two people are putting onto the UCLA front line.
That's the right play coming through from Arizona. You lose too many members of the team, you just fall back quickly, don't lose anyone else. Overwatch 101.
Exactly. Arizona doing a fantastic job of not streaming in there. Sleek, just like you said, what do you think they're going to have to do to be able to push through UCLA right here?
Maybe draft Flame Turtle to join them?
As we see, he just started playing Overwatch, probably going to come in and help out Arizona a little bit.
They'll need a seventh man here. Now, Graviton Surge will come out, but they're in the Winston Bow. Buys him a little bit of time, but the damage, too good. Pip takes 3, Raxa takes 2 more, and Juggernaut and Pip round it out.
Fantastic job from the two coupled right there. Another team kill from UCLA. That has got to be demoralizing for Arizona. You are never supposed to have Sureku catch all 6 of you in a Graviton Surge ultimate, especially when you have a Genji, especially when you have a D.Va. Those are the two people that work specifically well against Zarya. Sureku just does not care, landing another 6-man Graviton Surge.
So that's 3 Graviton Surge, about 18 people caught in Graviton Surge. Ridiculous. Total. It's starting to look, Zarya's starting to look very, very scary on Eichenwald.
I agree with you so much right there. Zarya, one of my all-time favorite characters to work with, just because Tracer, Pulse Bomb, Zarya, Graviton Surge is my all-time favorite combo. It works out so well. It looks like, hopefully, iProgress's Tac Visor is going to have to couple with something on Arizona, or else they're not going to push through, as they only have 2 minutes remaining and 5 ultimates for UCLA. Looks like Lucio just barely popped the sound barrier. iProgress using that Tac Visor immediately, putting down ridiculous amounts of damage, but countered by Juggernaut's Earth Shatter ultimate, and Sureku and Raxa seem to be doing a majority of the damage.
But Sureku actually fell off the map. Now Not GM has his Dragon Blade, wants to clean up house here, but Juggernaut shuts him down. Agent Snow in the Primal Rage, but it's one monkey against the world here. He wants to stall on this point, get his teammates back, but he's only got so much health, and that's about to run out.
Agent Snow falling down to 86 health before finally getting healed by the saving grace of Moira's healing orb. Looks like he's getting isolated a little bit right there as he is falling in HP, but he's trying his best to get back on the point and try and put a wrench in UCLA's defense. Raxa falling low, but getting healed up by his Moira. Agent Snow taking out Juggernaut. Arizona may have a chance right here, as 2 characters just barely fell for UCLA.
Huge coalition drives back UCLA, gets point control for Arizona. UCLA has an uphill battle, get back in time. not able to do it. Arizona takes point 1.
Arizona actually taking a point off of UCLA. That is rare. We have only seen that happen one time previously in the entire PACG tournament that UCLA has dropped a point. Arizona showing us that they are the #1 contender in their bracket, that they are not going to get stopped by anyone, specifically UCLA and specifically Raxa. They are not afraid.
I did not know the thing about the 1 point. I was not fully aware just how dominant
UCLA is good. Like, I'm not joking when I say that. Those Pip and Raxa together are almost unstoppable. Both of them have their ultimates right now. Pip using that Junkrat and Raxa staying on his fabled McCree. iProgress doing as good a job as any of putting damage, but getting sucked into a Graviton Surge right there. And Raxa couples with his High Noon ultimate. 3 people immediately fall down for Arizona, followed by a 4th and another Dex cleaning house. Another near team kill for UCLA. That's 3 on the first map alone, Sleek. How do you think Arizona's feeling right now?
Well, I think they're very confused about the time zones. They weren't aware it was noon, but what they should know is that gravity stretches time, so they're not where they thought they were.
That was cheesy. that lowbrow humor, my friend.
Well, to be fair, the combo's a little cheesy. It's classic.
Absolutely.
Zarya ult into huge damage, DPS ultimate. It's what you do.
UCLA, just like you were saying, fantastic work with coupling their ultimates. As you can see, Raxa and Sureku are both on fire. The only 2 defenders for UCLA that are Agent Snow falling, unfortunately, for Arizona. They have to group together. They have to be that team that took the first point and works with their Zarya ultimates. But they're not running Zarya anymore. They keep Agent Snow on Winston and took Super Micro on D.Va. That, in my opinion, is not a very good choice.
You have to try and look at what do they want to accomplish. What are they going to get from the D.Va? They get the zoning ult. They get the ability to eat large projectiles. They could be looking to use the defense matrix to catch Sureku's Graviton Surge, which should, by all rights, be a priority right now.
Absolutely. You're totally right on that one. But at the same time, Graviton Surge can also do a good job of pulling people away from the point and allowing you to push just as well as a D.Va can almost. But I will agree with you. D.Va, a great pick right here, trying to do the best job that she can to suck up Sureku's Graviton Surge ultimate and not allow that to have any benefit. iProgress, not quite sure where the High Noon is maybe. Raxa actually getting zoned out a little bit, not getting anyone. iProgress counters and immediately takes out Sureku, but he gets healed by Sang.
Immediate value out of this D.Va, but as soon as I say it, Super Micro gets brought down by the hammer. Coalescence not letting anyone on his team die.
This is the one thing that I've noticed watching UCLA as many times as I have. The second they get a pick, the second Raxa picks someone off or someone falls, the rest of the team just piles on. 1 kill immediately turns into 2, which turns into 4, and before you know it, it's a team kill. And what happened? Raxa got like 1 headshot on someone that wasn't even maybe that important for the push. They just capitalize on the opportunities that their entire team makes so well. They are playing like 1 right here on Icon Vault, Sleek.
Well, you just gotta understand, 6 is greater than 5. That's just good math. UCLA knows they got the 1-man advantage, might as well be a 6-man advantage.
Absolutely. Arizona actually has 4 ultimates and only 20 seconds left to make something happen. UCLA doesn't have any. If they have to have something happen, it's got to happen right now. Pip takes out iProgress. That's it for UCLA. Arizona needs to do something right now. Not GM doing his best, but immediately gets taken out by Juggernaut.
Sureku looks like he's going to be revived here. D.Va Bomb came out, did not get the huge bronze level play you were looking for with that full team kill, and that's just going to break the back of Arizona's forward attack.
Raxa and Sureku coupling together flawlessly once again. Arizona, however, is still on the point, but not for much longer. However, the Coalescence just popped out, but countered by that Earth Shatter from Juggernaut. iProgress, 25 HP, barely getting out, and he falls to another Dax. That's going to be it as UCLA stops them.
That's a bad feeling if you're Agent Snow. Just feels terrible. You're jumping on the points, winching. You're gonna save the day through the overtime, and it just slows down. Screen fades out. Feels bad. Oh, well.
Really, really unfortunate. They had such a good opportunity, Arizona State. Here we're going to see that Pip ultimate right there. Oh, my. Oh, my. 6.
Not enough Reinhardt shield in the world to stop that one.
I don't even know what to say. That just worked out so well for UCLA. Perfect positioning, perfect timing. They knew their ultimates were down. They knew they couldn't counter. That was nearly flawless from UCLA.
Oh, one thing that it's a little hard to see, I only saw it in the replay that worked through we saw it. Agent Snow had his shield. He catches the full barrage with that from the start. But as soon as it goes up, that thing's already cracked. Exactly. UCLA had worn down the barrier before going for this play. That has to be intentional with the level these teams are playing
absolutely.
at. So they set that up, ensure that play is going to work. That's not luck. That's calculation.
Exactly.
That's precision.
Exactly. That is team communication. Like you're saying, Sleek, UCLA is like, hey, we've got our Zarya ultimate. We've got our Rocket Barrage ultimate coming out from the 2. These 2 things work really well together. We can do a good convincing push. The only thing that we need to remove from the enemy team to make this happen is Reinhardt. Everybody start putting your damage into Reinhardt's shield. It didn't necessarily crack, but he had put it away to have it recharge, and immediately once that happened, Sureku popped the Graviton Surge, and that made the opportunity. And then once Reinhardt pulled his shield out, it had maybe 200 HP. Rocket Barrage worked right through that in a half a second, and a team kill from UCLA, pushing the point flawlessly. But we don't want to count out Arizona. They actually capped the point and moved it halfway through. That is a really, really good job from Arizona. I think if anybody has a chance of beating UCLA, it is going to be University of Arizona.
And right now they'll have another chance to show their stuff as we get ready to go to the Temple of Anubis, going to be the assault map chosen by Arizona. You know these players. You know this map. What do you think they have in mind when they selected it?
Temple of Anubis has been the most popular control point map that we have seen. Everybody seems to be favoring Temple of Anubis because it is such an easy map to defend on. It's really, really difficult to get those full caps, but I think it may be a little bit of a blunder from Arizona because this map is infamous for Widowmaker players. Everybody runs Widowmaker on Temple of Anubis. That's the thing that characterizes this map is chokeholds with ridiculous amounts of sight range. Raxa is going to pop off, and they do not have a counter for him. Their Widowmaker player, regardless of who they put on, is not going to be as good as Raxa. He's going to win the trades. That's that. Why pick Temple of Anubis?
It's entirely possible they have something less obvious up their sleeves. Maybe they want Raxa on the Widowmaker. It's potential. They've got this new strat they've devised on Temple of Anubis that really just denies the Widowmaker option.
They could.
And if they've got that and Raxa's not ready, he's sitting in his team base like, they picked me a Widowmaker map. It's showtime. And then just gets shut down by some kind of crazy double dive Winston Diva something.
Possibly.
That could be a morale killer.
It could be a shield defense composition. They can just sit underneath those 2 Anubis statues and not let anybody get through. I think we're just going to have to see as we move on to Temple of Anubis. First point, University of Arizona versus UCLA. Let's see if we can get a quick look at those massive Anubis statues that kind of defend that first point that is infamous for Widowmaker play. Yeah, right there. The Anubis Guardians right there, and that bridge up on top that you know Raxa is going to be sitting on offense. And right there in the back is that defensive sightline point that Raxa is going to be sitting on defense.
But now on defense, it is going to be Arizona. High progress on the Soldier, not Jam on the Junkrat. Okay, so not a lot of Widow hard counters here. I'm not sure what the play is.
Raxa taking Widowmaker, like you said. Sang actually getting pretty high, and see, immediately Raxa gets a headshot on Revenos. You can't run a standard composition against Raxa on this map, but it could be working out as iProgress gets an immediate Helix rocket pickoff on Raxa, and he falls. Pip counters with a headshot on Not GM, but it actually looks like Arizona is doing a good job of haltering UCLA's push.
This time Arizona has the Mercy that UCLA does not. We talk about UCLA. They like to run this Mercy. Maybe Raxa's not as familiar with having to work without that pocket res.
Maybe Arizona, iProgress specifically, once he gets that tac visor, is going to do a good job of stopping. Agent Snow falls to Pip right there, and he pops the Dragon Blade ultimate. The entire team for UCLA is caught up in the back. He immediately eliminates iProgress.
Tactical Visor is shut down there. Arizona has a few more men left, but they're running out quickly. Just the one on the stall. That's Renova, will fall down. Wasn't Raxa that time. Pip the one, making it happen for UCLA.
Yeah. My apologies, that was actually Pip, not iProgress on Genji. A little bit of a misspeak right there, but it was Pip that took that point for UCLA. An amazing, amazing job from the offense characters of UCLA. And Arizona doing as best a job as they can, but faltering and coming up short just a little bit on first point.
It really looked like Arizona had that. They get the early pickoff, they have the man advantage, but nothing destroys man advantage like a good Dragon Blade.
Oh, I completely agree with you there. Super Micro is actually getting really close to his ultimate as Sureku immediately dives in onto the point right there, doing as best a job as he can. Immediately eliminates Agent Snow. Raxa getting a clean headshot on Yugs. That is no res possible. Revenos popping the Coalescence, but getting dove on by Diva, and the point seems to be falling as 5 members are down. It's just Revenos. It's just him. He is 6v1ing right now, and he's surviving longer than he should have, but he immediately falls afterwards.
Yugs gets on that Lucio. That's good. Payload stall there. Agent Asian Snow, but you cannot stall out this much damage. Not Gems, Rip Tire, not going anywhere.
They seem to be struggling, streaming in a little bit. Super Micro having to pop his ultimate right there in just the hopes of pulling them off the point. iProgress popping his ultimate right there, a little bit of attack visor, but he gets isolated and destroyed by Pip. This is what I'm talking about. UCLA got one pick off on Yugs, who is on Mercy from Raxa, and then the rest of the team dives in and then force them to stream in, and they hold it and defend it or push it flawlessly. This is the UCLA that we know and love. They are seamless on capturing points.
They're so quick. They know their windows of opportunity. They force it every single time. If anyone on Arizona State is the slightest bit out of position, UCA will let them know in record time, taking that point in very close to record time. I know Dallas Fuel and Seoul Dynasty really tried to set the records there for themselves, but UCLA just gave those runs a run for their collective money.
Yeah, this is exactly what you were saying previously. The UCLA knows so well how to isolate characters, make opportunities for themselves, and really let Raxa and Pip shine. The second a person gets isolated, Pip and Raxa are right there to capitalize it. That comes down to the tanks. It's just they just play as a team. The tanks make opportunities for the DPS to do their job. The supports allow the tanks to do their job, and the DPSs defend the supports. Everyone is just working together. They are playing some flawless Overwatch here. Sleek, I am just so impressed.
I am a bit blown away in all my watching of this game, collegiate or otherwise. UCLA has been putting out the strongest showing of Overwatch I have seen outside of Overwatch League itself. It's absolutely incredible, and I love watching. I'm so excited for what comes next in the PACG because it has this team in it.
Oh, you're so right there, Archie. How do you think Arizona, that was the team that you had favored coming in on defense, how do you think they are going to be capable of pushing through? Because you know Rex is going to be on the Widowmaker. How do you think they're going to try and handle it? Do you think they're going to run flankers? Do you think they're going to try and run it down the middle and cap quickly?
Well, my initial guess of what I thought Arizona was going to do was straight up wrong, so I'm a little hesitant to make another guess. But they're going to make this high ground defense. One of the interesting things is they've actually kept the Mei here. Normally when we see this attempted, the Mei runs straight back to spawn. Instead, saying it, sticking on it.
I actually love the Mei pick from UCLA right here, saying we've seen him play it before, and it worked out pretty well. Saying right here, this is why. Mei is gonna put up the wall and isolate the tanks from the DPSs and then allow Pip and Raxa to jump on. Right there we see the wall, and the two tanks are isolated. Roadhog jumps in, and there's nothing that they can do. Two members are probably gonna fall from Arizona right here, but none have fallen yet. The good job from the Arizona supports.
And now, Asian Snow, good barrier work, takes out Roxa. He falls himself, but he's keeping Arizona's hopes alive right now. Super Micro with a highly charged Zarya, throwing out his damage. He's the hope.
iProgress immediately heal it, Roxing Sang, and the Coalescence popping out here from Yugs. A little bit out of position, in my opinion, as Juggernaut is right there, but not GM falls. Super Micro falls, and it looks to be UCLA that comes out on top with this defense.
They throw back Arizona once more. I feel like I need to apologize to Super Micro. As soon as I said he's what this team needs, he falls. I feel that I'm somehow responsible for that. I apologize, friend.
We have no wood to knock on in here. A little bit of an unfortunate situation for Arizona as they pop their ultimates, but they were a little bit unsynergized. This is what I'm talking about. Had they worked together as a team and all been in proper positions, they would have been capable of capitalizing on that and punching a hole through UCLA's defense. But now, UCLA's got 3 ultimates. They can't push right now, but they can bait out the ultimates for the next push.
They got to build their own ult charge, force out UCLA's, because their ult edge is so huge. Sang and Other Day have thrown out their ultimates as well, doing the Coalescence, doing massive damage. Super Micro falls, Sound Barrier comes out.
Pip is on Zenyatta. He is a DPS player, but he is doing just as much damage as any. He pops a Transcendence ultimate, and no one from UCLA is less than 100% HP. Another Dex taking a little bit of HP damage, but everyone is basically full health. How is Arizona going to push through that? You have to weaken him down, and Revenos picks off Juggernaut as he overextends. This is your opportunity. You have to go right now.
And it push right in. Coalescence comes out. You got the high charge Zarya trying to burn these players down. Here's the attack visor from iProgress on the high ground. Takes out Raxa. Not actually better than Aimbot. There's the triple kill. Arizona takes point A.
Ridiculously good work right there. Just like you were saying, they saw the opportunity. They made the play. They isolated Juggernaut with their tanks, and they killed him. Now it's 5v6, and immediately all 6 members of Arizona, let's go right now. We have no time. They jump on the point. They pop the attack visor. They pop the ultimates, and UCLA falls. That is how you beat UCLA. Team coordination.
and they don't slow down. Speed boost their tank team forward, but immediately get mowed down as a result.
A little bit of an overextension from Arizona. They tried too quickly to move on to the point, maybe a little bit hopped up on their own juices there, but UCLA puts the halt onto that one, not allowing anybody to actually touch the point right there. Juggernaut on a 5-man kill streak, and he retains his whole hog ultimate.
I do not know what Agent Snow's play there was, but I'm sorry, that is not the right one, buddy.
Sang with 2 headshots as he kills Super Micro and Agent Snow. We have a Zenyatta DPS here, everybody. How many times do you see? Oh, he actually switches off to Junkrat right there.
Well, they're actually passing around this Zenyatta pick like a bag of Oreo cookies.
That was Sang on Zenyatta,
yes, it was originally Pip on this character. They throw it over to Zhang, who is no longer on the Mei. This is an incredibly flexible team.
This is what I'm talking about previously with the other matchups that we've seen. When something isn't working or when characters are on different positions, you have to switch off. Zenyatta's good, but Junkrat's better. So they're like, hey, I'll switch off Zenyatta and take Junkrat. You have to pick him up, though. They are working well. They are taking advantage of good team compositions. Raxa overextending maybe a little bit, trying to put damage on Super Micro, but just charging his shield, missing shot after shot, and a 1 headshot finally as Super Micro is mere inches away from escaping.
It looked like a dangerous play, but it's worth it. You want to shut down the high-energy Zarya. She's so important. She can carry fights. I love the idea.
But look how far forward he is, Sleek.
He can do what he wants.
He is pretty far forward, but at the same time, Arizona is not pushing past him. They are a little bit afraid of Raxa, in my opinion. They're like, hey, I don't want to die. I don't want to be the person that makes it a 5v6 for my team. You can just do what you want. But in doing that, they're not able to push past Raxa.
At the same time, we couldn't really see from Raxa's perspective, but UCLA was behind him. He had his team watching his back, but now they need to watch his back. He's far forward. Enemy tanks right on top of him.
High progress takes out Juggernaut, and they pop the Coalescence ultimate. This is their look. Hammer down coming out from Agent Snow, and they immediately dive onto the point. Another Dax is doing his best job. Looks like Saraku is going to use his ultimate, and Pip falls. They don't have a majority of their DPS. Sang uses his Transcendence ultimate, and Raxa takes out Yukes. Saraku takes out Revenant, and I Progress pops that Attack Visor ultimate and is trying to do his best to remove UCLA from the game.
We see Rip Tires were traded here. No kills from them yet. Still another one. Super Micro goes down to Pip. Does UCLA have the bodies for this, though?
I don't know. In that slugfest, it actually looks like UCLA miraculously was capable to come out on top a man down, as they did not have Juggernaut in that team fight.
Still, they hold together. I like this very far forward position on Anubis. It limits the paths that Arizona can take that they would have if they set back farther up. Without options, with limited options, they have no choice but to try and beat UCLA head-on. And we're starting to see that's a fight that's very hard for them to win.
Look at Arizona's team composition. What flankers are they running? They're trying to shoot it down the middle and just bully their way through UCLA, which they've shown before you are not going to do. Where's the Tracers? Where's the Genjis? Where's the Widowmakers? They cannot push through this. You have to flank this. Where's the Pharah? Come on, you gotta change up the composition a little bit. It hasn't worked for you so far on the second point. It's time to make some changes.
I do agree, some changes, there has to be some change somewhere, but I don't know if flanks are going to do much better. Hold on, Riptire coming out, it takes out 2, sets up UCLA to roll over the rest of Arizona here. But I want to finish what I was saying there. They've got the Junkrat, they've got the McCree. What's a flanker going to do, other than die?
It comes down to positioning. Raxa and the Junkrat are all forward, as you can see right there. Raxa is literally outside the gates right there. If you have a Tracer or a Pharah jumping up across that left side right there in that high zone, that is almost a C9 back cap, basically. That will force them to pull their team composition back, that'll make them flustered, and that'll give your tanks an opportunity to dive through, specifically Agent Snow.
I still think that's going to be difficult because with UCLA pushed up as far as they can, the flankers can't get to these side paths. That's what I was talking about earlier. They're going to get caught by the Roadhog, and they're just going to die some more. UCLA is winning because they're taking away Arizona's options.
Absolutely agreeing with you there. Arizona is trying their best to make whatever they can work, whether it's through the right side, whether it's through the middle. They have to make something happen as there's only 1 minute remaining on the last point in Temple of Anubis.
They do have some ultimates. They've got the Earth Shatter, Attack Visor. They can go Nano Visor here. Not going to be the play, just Attack Visor. Yukes dies there. Not sure who he boosted, though.
Raxa is just doing a ridiculous amount of damage, coupled with Juggernaut's whole hog ultimate. Pip retaining his Riptire ultimate, and it doesn't look like Arizona's going to be able to push through as 3 members are down, including their ever so important 95% ultimate charge Zarya. She has got to get back to the point in less than 30 seconds if anything's going to happen for Arizona.
That's a little bit fine. That is enough time to press an attack, but they have to very quickly start making that overtime happen if they want to have any chance. Super Micro starting to get some charge, has the ultimate, This could be the play.
You've got 15 seconds left here, Super Micro. Get your team together and use that ultimate right now. Pull them all together just as the Junkrat Tower comes in the back. A little bit of a pre-detonation there. Really unfortunate. They've got 5 seconds to get on the point. Super Micro going to use his ultimate any second now. He pulls it right in and does a ridiculous amount of damage. 5 people are sucked in and they immediately fall. 3 members, 4 members are down for UCLA. 5 members are down for UCLA. Arizona may just have a chance to take this point from them.
They just have to throw Juggernaut off and it's theirs. They got to stop the counter stall now. Very little time for Arizona. Raxa on the Tracer, gonna try and make it happen. They can't shut him down just yet. Trying to force off these players. Another Riptire coming in.
A millimeter away from full capping this. In overtime, Pip getting a double kill. Reveno is actually booping another Dax. It's not, hopefully it's enough. They have to get on the point. 3 members are left. Soreku getting forced out of his Diva mech and immediately taken out by Revenos.
Now it continues to stall out, but Respawn's coming through for UCLA so quickly. Man advantage is starting to go their way, but they have to fight for the sound barrier. Not easy to do. It's just Juggernaut here. Someone's behind the enemy team. It is Raxa. Who would have guessed? But they step off for just a second. It's all over for either team.
Juggernaut actually taking out Agent Snow right there as Raxa gets a good pulse bomb on Agent Snow. UCLA defends Arizona with less than a millimeter, probably 99.99% on that cap right there. That is so unfortunate. They came so close to taking a game off of UCLA.
That was incredible. The back and forth, the stall, the counter stall, a wonderful team fight, everyone doing their jobs. Some of the best Overwatch play I have seen in the PACG so far. I am so happy that I got the chance to witness that up close as it was happening.
That was such an impressive show from Arizona, but I want to talk about how they were capable of doing that. Instead of trying to run it down the middle like I was saying, they all as a team flanked around the left side, tried to take them out of position, because when they moved right there, they're like, oh gosh, now both teams have to move back right there, and then that made UCLA clumped up together as they were all on the point, tried to go back, defending, knowing that they were going to come through that left room right there, and then immediately Graviton Surge got popped, and the rest of the team was able to push through and capitalize. That phenomenal Graviton Surge was the only thing that was holding Arizona together, and they got a team kill, but were still incapable of capping as Raxa on Tracer switches off and gets the hold with less than like a nanometer of distance left for Arizona to cap that point. That has just got to be so demoralizing for this team.
That feels really bad. But UCLA, even in their stall tactics, were top-notch. We see them, they switched to the Diva. Diva can stall so well just because of how long her death animation is with the D-Mech. That buys them important amounts of time at critical moments. The Roadhog was so important there. Those last-second switches were what allowed UCLA to win out those stall tactics. And that just feels bad when you're on the attacking team.
It feels awful. I know exactly how it feels to be on the end of something where you just get so close to victory and then you just barely lose the match. It just makes you feel awful. Like you just have to, you don't want to come back and like, oh, I just want to do that again. No, you're just demoralized. It's going to be so difficult to keep a positive attitude for Arizona, but that's what they're going to have to do if they don't want to get 4-0 or even 3-0 swept by UCLA.
This is going to be match point for UCLA. It's going to be up to Arizona to stay innovative, keep UCLA on their toes if they want to take this one. And I want to say stay innovative because I feel they've already been a bit innovative. We called out the Junkrat Tire at the start of that fight, but in retrospect, I noticed it really did something to USA's position. The Rip Tire came from the opposite direction that Arizona went to attack from, and then that leads USA to, they kind of group up with their backs to the door that Arizona wanted to come through. I think that's what makes the Graviton Search possible.
Yeah, absolutely. That was just good team coordination. We're going to go ahead and take a look and see what map they choose next. And actually, Nepal once more. We have only seen Lijiang Tower at this point in this tournament. This is the first matchup, or the first week rather, that we have actually seen Nepal as the King of the Hill map. Why do you think that is, Sleek?
Hard to say. It is the second time we saw it in a row. The last time we saw it, seemed very targeted. Stanford was just really comfortable on the map, so they wanted to play on that. It could just be another comfort situation for Arizona. Hard to say exactly, but I think there may be something to say about iProgress's Soldier. Soldier has a great time in these areas, especially Nepal Sanctum. He can get on that high ground, shoot down at that central control point. I think he can do good work from that position. That might be part of why they selected this map.
The other thing is for Nepal Village, rather, the point is down enclosed by walls. How long of line of sight does Raxa actually have on Widowmaker? That's going to force him to take McCree. That's someone much easier to play against than Widowmaker. Widowmaker can sit miles away from the point and do ridiculous amounts of damage. McCree, not the same character. You have to be up close in combat. You have to be using that flashbang. You have to be using your tumble resets. That's much easier to play against. You can use Junkrat to take him out. You can use Soldier 76 Tac Visor to take him out. He's much easier to deal with than Widowmaker for Raxa, and I think that's what they're trying to bait out right here by picking Nepal rather than Li Zhang.
But even then, for me, that's a difficult thing to do because the Widowmaker thing only really holds true on Nepal Village.
Exactly.
We saw Daddy J on the Widowmaker and Sanctum. He wasn't held back by sight lines at all. And if we get to that Central Plaza level, there's long lines of sight there as well. This could be really a Widowmaker's playground as much as restricting pick.
Hopefully they actually get Nepal Village or something for the first pick and maybe throw Raxa off of his game by shutting him down, making him not as useful, making him feel like, I'm not doing as good of a job as I can. Kind of tilt him, hopefully, and maybe allow Pip, or rather stop Pip opportunities to make plays happen, because him and Sureku together are just phenomenal. I feel like everybody for UCLA, we talk about Pip and Raxa, we talk about Sureku and Pip, we talk about their supports with the DPS as well. Everyone works well with everybody else, and you don't see that from many other teams.
It's hard to match that level of play for all members of your team. We are going to be starting out in neither Village or Sanctum, so a new section of Nepal for us here at the PACG. Sureku leading the charge, but has to deal with Agent Snow's Reinhardt.
Juggernaut falling incredibly low and barely getting that pulse barrier from Sureku on Zarya. She looks like she's already at 40% charge, and Yugs falls to a headshot from Raxa on Hanzo.
Well, that's a new one for him, to say the least, but still getting value. Scatter Arrow looking to take out the Zarya. So close. It will end up falling to Pip instead, and Arizona on their heels.
Raxa actually not doing too good of a job right there, mixing the majority of his shots. However, it's still capable of felling, not GM. iProgress counters and eliminates Juggernaut. That is one character down, but 3 characters are down for Arizona as Raxa takes out iProgress with a Scatter Arrow, but countered by Revenos on Lucio.
Damage. Lucio could be looking to make the comeback play for his team, but UCLA starting to come back here. Sureku is back. The Lucio needs his team.
Arizona actually pushing up onto the point here. Yugs falling, however, but Agent Snow is doing his best, taking a ridiculous amount of damage from another Dax's Coalescence. Coalescence and the Dragon Blade from Pip right there, immediately felling Super Micro. Ridiculously good job from UCLA as they retain control of the point. Convincing hold from UCLA, Sleek.
And the power of anime prevails once again.
Power of anime. Oh, that is just such a good descriptive term for the two of them together with the Kamehameha and the Dragon Blade. It doesn't get more Japanese than that.
If they can mix the Hanzo in there as well, though, we can get some stuff going.
They're running a full Japan composition. It may look like, not GM popping that ultimate right there and immediately countered by Raxa's Dragon Cannon.
But he does take out Pip, and that's what he wanted to do. Juggernaut brawling on this point. Primal Rage comes out. Wants to throw out Agent Snow. Can't quite do that. Fighting inside the Coalescence, making him immortal.
That's not what you want to be doing for Arizona. Juggernaut doing such a good job of creating space and allowing Raxa to get the shots that he needs. Another Dax is just healing an incredible amount as Agent Snow gets separated and felled by Raxa. Good team coordination from UCLA. Arizona, 90% left. You've got 10% to get on the point with 2 people down. I don't see them doing it on this first map.
They're definitely running low on time. It would be a very impressive play if they're able to do so. They've got the Tac Visor, but they have to fight through this Zarya ultimate. That's not even really going to let them walk onto the point. Dragon Surge comes through. This could be it.
5 members down for Arizona. It's just the Tac Visored iProgress that's alive, but he is incapable of getting onto the point as Pip and Sureku separate him and don't allow any space for him to get on top of that point. UCLA with 100-0 in amazing fashion.
That was very impressive. Very dominant showing from UCLA. It kind of becomes the standard for them, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. Someone needs to take him down a notch.
Probably. Who's going to do that, though?
I think it could be Arizona State, but Arizona today, they had the opportunities coming in earlier. They have got 1 point left on Nepal to kind of make something happen. They have got so little room for error moving in here. This is it. This is going to be the final map before they get clean swept. They have to beat UCLA now or they're done for this week.
And you said it was possible they were really hoping for the Nepal Village. If that was their plan, it seems they're plumb out of luck as they're being forced into the Sanctum. And Raxa returns to the Hanzo with no fear.
Interesting to not take Widowmaker, but if it works, it works. Another Dax falling ridiculously low, but Sureku counters and actually knocks Agent Snow off the edge with that green grenade from Orisa.
Orisa players, that's what your reinforce is for. You can get environmental kills, but you have just as many tools to protect yourself from them. A little disappointed we see a player as skilled as Agent Snow fall for that.
A little bit disappointing, but you know, it can take even the best of players by surprise. We see it frequently. Orisa is such a good pick on this specific Nepal Sanctum map.
Trying to press forward, Pip deflecting massive damage. Doesn't find the frag, but Raxa does. Arizona now down some players.
Pip doing a good job, dives onto the backline and immediately eliminates Agent Snow. Not GM trying his best to counter, but Raxa gets the good shot off and immediately is countered by Super Micro, and he falls, saying, boops, not GM off the edge.
And now Super Micro, one of the last to fall here. Revenues tries to stall, but you cannot juke the Moira Orb. I've tried, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work out. That thing is a stalker. It follows you wherever you go, and it is so annoying, especially as a Tracer player. I may be a little biased on that. It could be easier for other people, but I know that I hate it just about as anyone can. UCLA rapidly approaching halfway point. Arizona has got to make something happen, or their dreams for today are dead. Raxa using that Dragon Ultimate, but not hitting anyone, actually. A little embarrassing.
It does cut off the route of escape, though, if UCLA wants to all in here, which they could be doing with the Coalescence. Riptire coming in, takes out Surekus. We've seen the Dragon Blade come through. Ultimates trading every which way. And it looks like UCLA comes out on top.
That was absolute mayhem. All the ultimates for both sides, with the exception of Super Micro's whole hog ultimate, were used. The highest ultimate charge right now is 57% for Agent Snow and 22% for Agent another Dax rather. That is not a lot. Arizona has got to make something happen. They have 25% left on this cap.
It was an insane ult fight for sure, and that is just kind of bad news bears for UCLA. They spent so many resources shutting down Arizona, just kind of out of options as they look to hold this point.
Ravenos popping that sound barrier right there. Pip actually picking off Agent Snow with a headshot before it can happen, but not GM is doing his best, shooting missile after missile or grenade rather, onto the point, and he actually seems to be pushing them off. They are so close to capping. 99% for UCLA. Arizona doing their best. Another Dax falls. Juggernaut falls, and they actually cap the point the second time. 99% to a now charging Arizona team.
Well, not GM, proving that maybe he should be. Good play from him, working that Junkrat spam, doing what he needs to do, aimed, targeted spam, of course, as he does. I love the play. I love this guy on this hero.
Arizona, like you said, specifically not GM, is doing a majority of the damage, making up for what iProgress is incapable of doing. Pip trying his best to counter, but he's getting separated by Ravenos on Lucio. But maybe a bit of an overextension as he falls. Pip with a clean dragon sweeping blade rather, killing him, and Agent Snow is separated once again by Raxa, and he gets another kill. That's 3 members down.
Final melee will put him out of there. Yugs trying to keep his team alive with the Coalescence. Just not enough healing in the world to deal with this. Raxa, headshot with a scatter arrow to put down iProgress.
That is such a cheesy ability. You can get headshots around corners. You can get headshots on people you didn't even know were there. Revenos trying to solo defend that point, but the power charger dropping out there from Sureku. No one's going to be able to stop that. They are now streaming in. It's just a matter of time before UCLA finally caps this.
iProgress tries to put in the damage with that Soldier Ultimate, but as you said, it's just a matter of time. There wasn't enough room on the clock for them to make another attack there, and that will be Nepal and the match in favor of UCLA.
You are absolutely right there. UCLA on probably a map that they wouldn't necessarily have picked for themselves. They would have picked a map that could have favored their team compositions better. It doesn't seem to matter, though. They are just flawless. As you can see, Pip right here just dragon sweeping back and forth, using his resets, getting damage, just tearing apart Arizona, and that's why UCLA comes out on top in this series 3-0 for the win. We are still going to play the 4th game just for fun, but Arizona falters this week in the PACG tournament series.
That is kind of the end result here. You say our 4th game is just for fun, but at the same time, it's good experimentation ground for both these teams. They can take out some strategies in a competitive context and kind of test them in a safe environment, see if they really hold up in practice as opposed to just on the drawing board. That's what we want to see both of these teams do here.
It's also an opportunity for them to flesh out how the other team plays, even more so than they have in the previous 3 games. Arizona versus UCLA, this is the first time they have met against each other. This 4th game is going to be a great opportunity for both teams to learn exactly how the other team plays flawlessly. This gives specifically Arizona, since they were on the back foot this game, an opportunity to figure out a counter to the compositions that UCLA runs. So in the coming weeks when they may play against each other again, they'll be better prepared.
I agree. That is the right mindset they should have going into this. But as always, when you're playing at this level, when you're at a disadvantage, playing against a team that just kind of handed it to you, you have to have strict improvement goals in mind. You have to be asking yourself, what is Arizona University of Arizona's coach thinking in the back of his head right now? What's his checklist? What does he want his teammates working on here?
Specifically, team synergy. We saw on Temple of Anubis very specifically that when they work together as a team, when they use their Zarya ultimates, when everybody is working together as a team, they are great. They took out UCLA more than once. They took the first point away from them. They pushed onto the second point and just got a millimeter away from capping it. When they work together as a team, they are more than capable of being a great match for UCLA. It still seemed like they were a little bit faltering right there, as UCLA was still capable of denying them the point, specifically because Raxa and Tracer capped it. But that's what the coach should be teaching, how to work together as a team, not isolated members.
All right, Ninja, I think you're all right. And so our final map is going to be a payload in Route 66. This is going to be Arizona's stage of a battle as they look to make the improvements they need to better compete against UCLA. One thing I want to keep in mind, you talked about the need to work on playing as a team more. I want them specifically looking for more opportunities to play as a team. The Zarya ultimate into a DPS damage ultimate, that's, again, it's Overwatch 101. That is the first combo you learn how to do. I want to see them experiment more with that. Find other combinations that they can reliably pull off. Practice pulling those off against a really good team so that they don't have to wait for a Zarya ultimate to be up to play the game of Overwatch.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. It's so kind of simplistic, like stage 1 Overwatch is to how to couple with a Zarya ultimate, and I think it's kind of fallen out of meta just because people in Overwatch League specifically don't play it as often as they would with another composition. In spite of that, it is still ridiculously powerful. I don't know why it's fallen out of fashion just because Zarya ultimate charge is such a long time. You can get better efficiency maybe with other characters. That's an argument you can make, but it is reliable. That's the one thing. It is such good AoE distance for the Graviton Surge that pulls everyone together, and with the implement that you can no longer use mobility spells inside the Graviton Surge, that means there is quite literally no escape when that Tracer comes in, drops her Pulse Bomb, when that Genji pulls out his Dragon Blade and starts shooting you, when the Tac Visor comes up from behind you, you can do nothing about it, and that's what makes the Zarya combination just so devastating against any composition that it's played against.
But you said it just there. It's on a long cooldown. They've got to have stuff they can use in the meantime. We'll see if they want to test out anything else as we get ready to go into Route 66.
How do you feel Arizona is going to be capable of playing on this map, as it is, once again, an incredibly long sight-ranged map? They could have picked Dorado, which, I mean, also is long sight range, but it is a little bit more enclosed than Route 66 is.
Well, to be honest, they could have intentionally just picked a good long sight range match so they can experiment something. Maybe specifically give Raxa a good map so they can work on practicing around him. Give themselves, they could experiment with some flankers, they could experiment with some barriers, which seems to be kind of the play here. Just going to be the Orisa for the main tank. What are you feeling about this?
I think it's interesting, but they actually do have Super Micro on Roadhog right there. So they are running double tank for both team composition. Juggernaut is going to be taking Winston, and Sareku is going to be taking D.Va. Looks like UCLA is actually pushing this point, and Not GM eliminates another Dax from the team. Raxa faltering quite a little bit, not landing the headshots that he's looking for, and Not GM is popping off. He's taking out the D.Va mech. He takes out the supports. Not GM doing a ridiculously good job here on the first point for Route 66.
Juggernaut tries to deny that value, but just too many threats in his face. You really go in too hard there, and that's going to be UCLA forced back quickly. I like the idea to fight on top of Big Earls. That gives them an easy barrier.
Raxa with the double headshot and immediately puts the Kibosh on Arizona's defense. Another headshot right there, but not enough to kill him immediately. Another Dax uses the counter damage and eliminates Yugs. That's it. UCLA is now back in this.
I wanted to say, Big Earls gives them a lot of cover with that sign. Well, it doesn't matter if you're not behind it, and Froxa picks you back off while you're walking back. And that's going to be UCLA pushing forward.
I'm not quite sure how UCLA was capable of doing that. Oh my, this is what I mean. I'm in the middle of saying something, and Raxa shuts me up. Raxa is just phenomenal with getting headshots from long distance, and also while he's using his grappling hook. He is just ridiculous on every map, in every situation. He is almost impossible to stop.
I could have swore Yugs was behind that barrier. Raxa apparently does not care. Tries to catch out this Junkrat, not able to do so just yet. Arizona, they have to be so careful with their positioning if they don't want to get picked off again.
Not GM going to be holding that Riptire ultimate as Sureku pops his as well. They're trying to move around. He's holding it as long as possible to let the ultimates go down. However, it's seen. It falls down to 72 HP, and he goes in, and he only pops Sureku's Diva Mech. But he already used self-destruct and kills 2 people. Revenos falling dangerously low, and he falls to Sang.
Now Arizona running out of bodies, certainly not enough to survive this coalescence. Only a matter of time before Arizona gets pushed back. Not GM, not gonna have to carry this one.
Sang and Pip together. The Zenyatta and the Genji are doing a majority of the work for UCLA as Raxa has fallen. Another Dax takes out iProgress as well, and Pip right there takes out Zenyatta's Yug's Zenyatta rather.
We were very quiet about that Soldier ultimate, but that's probably just because that was an ultimate fated to be quiet. He was firing straight into a defense matrix at a Genji who could deflect. There's just not a lot he could achieve in that scenario.
I agree with the pick on taking Soldier 76 in that situation, but you got to make the switch off, and that's exactly what they did. We see iProgress taking Widowmaker right now. Hopefully he's going to be capable of dueling with Raxa in 1v1, because essentially that's what that DPS pick is going to come down. You can't deal DPS if Raxa's continuing to kill you. You have to kill him. You have to be better than Raxa.
At the same time, Raxa cannot push his payload alone. If iProgress just picks off the rest of the team, Pip will come here.
Pip popping off with that Dragon Blade and immediately eliminates some of the backline. However, he gets separated a little bit. He moves in on top of Agent Snow, not doing too much with the Dragon Blade, but he created space. Sureku and Raxa capitalize and immediately pick off 3 more members of the Arizona team.
And now, man advantage considerably to UCLA. Revenos wants to clean up Raxa, but you're not the DPS, pal. That's going to be near the end of Arizona's defense. They can stagger on and stall here, but I'm not sure what they can do.
Sang popping his Transcendence ultimate. However, Pop does die to a poison shot, a poison mine rather. Sureku immediately eliminates Super Micro, and Raxa is doing his best to snipe, but he's a little bit out of position as iProgress dives on top of him, and iProgress eliminates Raxa. That's what they should have been doing since game 1, is running the Tracer against him.
And now they have the Coalescence to keep the fight going. That's going to throw UCLA back. They have to turn tail and run. Arizona's defense holds for the time being.
Great work from Revenos on using that Coalescence to maximum efficiency, healing and dealing damage. Juggernaut dives into the backline, or the frontline rather, still holding on to that Primal Rage ultimate, and iProgress is continuing to do good amounts of damage onto UCLA's backline.
Right now, he's just shooting into tanks. Not his ideal target, but speaking of ideal targets, finding Sang here, but Raxa finds him.
That's how Raxa does it. Pip takes out Super Micro with a headshot, and Raxa has eliminated iProgress and Revenos. Another Dax popping that Coalescence ultimate and buffered by that Transcendence ultimate from Sang. Everyone is getting heals, and Raxa and Pip together are just doing all the damage that they need. They are in no fear of losing HP. 4.4 meters left, and it's quickly approaching 0.
Super Micro going on, pushing on ahead, tries to stall. Yugs on the Lucio, dancing around this payload, but there's so many things on this team you cannot juke out. I believe that is the sound barrier actually burned on nothing. Arizona's defensive resources burning down here. They have to be careful of the Diva Bomb, and they are, Super Micro actually stalling very good with the Mei.
An excellent pick right there to do the best to try and put time on the point, but it's just a matter of time. As we mentioned before, they're streaming in before UCLA finishes it off. That is such a great work from UCLA. Look in the top right. Every single member for UCLA was on fire. And I didn't think for the last, 35 meters of distance, a single member of UCLA fell below half health just because the healers were doing their job perfectly. They're sleek.
I mean, they managed their healing resources so very well. That kept them all safe and ensured that Arizona's stall was just that. Stalling for time. They could never get enough people on the payload fast enough to put together a coherent fight, and that meant it was ultimately all an exercise in futility. But it might come back to matter if Arizona gets the full sweep of this map themselves. It's going to give UCLA less time in, say, a tiebreaker scenario there.
I agree with you so much. It's so difficult to try and break the offense, or the defense rather, that Arizona had set up on that one. Well, I guess in this case it was the offense. UCLA had it situated in such a way that that they were constantly streaming. They were never together as a team. They never gave them the opportunity to counter UCLA because they were delaying their kills when they needed to. They were making sure that they were resetting their timers one after the other, and then they're thinking like, hey, we have to stop the payload. We have to get on there now, instead of grouping together as a team and maybe losing some distance. It finally got to the point where there was no distance left to give when they had to be grouping together as a team. UCLA playing that flawlessly.
You said it perfectly. You didn't leave a lot of words left unsaid there, man. You kind of said everyone in the English dictionary. I'm flat out. You said them all.
I mean, I used to be an English major back when I went to college. I actually don't go anymore. But, I mean, what do you think Arizona could have done better, or what do you think they're going to be trying to do better on offense moving in here?
Well, offense is an entire different ball game. You have every opportunity to try something else. I like what they did, defending on Big Earl, but that doesn't really translate to the offense here. I'm curious. I like the focus on the dive tanks here. I think that's going to be very important. But Raxa on the Genji, not what we normally see. High progress, not seeing it at all.
And that's how he does it. Raxa hiding off inside that train car, waiting for the exact opportunity to dive out and get eye progress. You've got to check all your flanking positions before you set up. Raxa does that every game, and it's really important to learn if you're going to be a fantastic Widowmaker player on the same level as Raxa.
It's almost as if Raxa knows how to play this character really well and knows how other people are going to do and is able to anticipate that sort of thing.
Actually, we say Pip taking the Widowmaker, trying to get a little bit of practice. As you can see, Agent Snow capitalizing that and making a good opportunity for his team. Arizona actually moving the payload along quite well.
But now they got to deal with Sreku on this high ground. He's surrounded by a few members of Arizona, but they kind of sort of died, so who cares?
They got on the payload, but it just wasn't enough to break the defense of UCLA. 4 members fell, and I kind of disagree with the Sombra pick. There's not a lot of key health packs here on this point map. The only one is right there in that room, and it is a mega health pack. That's the only one that Sombra is going to be capable of hacking that is hurting the defense and helping the offense.
And one of the problems is that UCLA has such a brawly composition. The Ana Moira, the Roadhog, the Genji, they're all just going to be fighting in this big blob of death. You can't isolate anyone. There's no one to isolate. They're all just a blob of death.
Dragon Blade ultimate popping up from Raxa, immediately eliminating Yugs, and the rest of the team follows suit. Revenos and Agent Snow falls. Another Dax takes out Super Micro's Diva. 4 members are down for Arizona, with eye progress probably going to follow soon.
He tries to get out of there. Not GM. Can't get out of there. Have you noticed that Raxa and Pip here have just traded characters?
I did notice that, and it seems that they are both flawless on either situation. Pip with his ultimate, Raxa was just barely on fire. I don't think it matters who they play. Those two together, as we've said so many times before, are the epitome of the unstoppable force.
And Arizona just cannot be the immovable wall needed to shut them down. Now, Raxa wants to get behind here, looking for Yugs. Not quite finding the shurikens, though.
Yeah, he's faltering just a little bit, but Pip actually going to use that Infra Sight, maybe a bit of a pre-usage. Shouldn't have used it right there, in my opinion, but it looks like Not GM is going to try and hack Pip. Pip is a little bit isolated, can't use that grappling hook to get escape, and Super Micro capitalizes. Amazing team synergy from Arizona.
We call that the Sombra, but that's how they did it in the end. Coalescence on the Roadhog, making him hard to kill, but his health was already so low, not to be done there.
And Agent Snow takes out the ultimate from Sreku and just cleans house. 2 members fall for UCLA, with some more following quickly as Sang gets dangerously low. Raxa as well falls again. Arizona probably going to push it to the first point right here, Sleek.
Net Revenos having a very good game on this offensive Zenyatta. He's on fire, getting the headshots, getting the damage, keeping his teammates alive. I love this player on this character.
Super Micro at the very last second pops his ultimate, but incapable of killing anyone, and he will actually fall. In spite of that, Arizona retains 3 ultimates for their offensive push, with Revenos not far behind at 95%.
The classic zoning ult. You throw it at the enemy, they have to back off for respect, and that means they cannot contest the payload, and Arizona will push past point 1. That's the second point that has been taken off UCLA.
Absolutely. However, Raxa right there pops the Dragon Blade ultimate, but immediately gets countered with the EMP. He doesn't get a single kill in eye progress with the High Noon ultimate. Kills 2 members. Pip and Sang fall. Raxa trying his best to take out members of the opposing team, but he has no healers. He has no tanks, and the Coalescence ultimate is popped as well.
But it seems like he may not need eye progress. So close, the ultimate DPS duel, and eye progress comes out on top.
I'm on fire.
you gotta feel good taking out Raxa like that. Even though he is on Genji, taking out Raxa in any form is an achievement. iProgress doing a ridiculously good job with some crisp headshots back and forth.
His team actually doing a good job of pushing forward. Looks like they have a solid shot of getting 2.2 here. UCLA does have time to regroup, though, and they have some ultimates of their own.
Super Micro popping the Diva ultimate up there in the room, forcing the rest of the UCLA defense to get out of the way. Super Micro diving in here and separating the rest of the tanks. Sureku falls, but Raxa counters and kills Yugs. iProgress is continuing to pop off. He kills Pip, and he kills the power ultimate from Sureku.
We called out the Sombra here as a bad pick, but really it's doing all the work. Raxa does come out on top in that fight, but early on, Pip was shut down by that EMP, was unable to make an impact, and it looked like Arizona was going to win for a while until Raxa it, but...
Until Raxa it, absolutely. No, I kind of take my words back on the Sombra pick a little bit. With the recent buffs, she seems to be quite a bit more impactful. She was kind of faltering a little bit, but then she picked it up right away and is being a great asset to this Arizona push. However, we do see Pip switch back onto Genji and Raxa switch back over onto his McCree. They do not want to lose this one, as NotGM moves into the backline, pops the EMP, and immediately is sniped by Raxa on McCree.
It was a big EMP, but now he's not... Oh well, forces out Yugs' res to keep the fight going. This could be Arizona's chance here. Pushing forward, lots of little health bars for UCLA. Sureku goes down, and Arizona in control. 5
members fell in that team fight for UCLA as Arizona moves on to the second point. This is a really, really convincing push from Arizona, as they have now taken 2 points off of on Route 66 against UCLA.
That hasn't happened before, has it?
I think it may have happened one time previously where they had a full cap against Mount Anubis, but it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, that's absolutely for sure right there. And now the final one, we might actually go to a tiebreaker here on Route 66. That's exciting.
It's going to be a real close one, but as you can see, UCLA has 2 minutes and 43 seconds, whereas Arizona only has 1:30 remaining to get this onto the payload. And it looks like Pip right there is going to be popping the Dragon Blade ultimate. He eliminates Yugs, and Sureku and Raxa carry through the backline. As you can see them down there, Pip, Juggernaut, and other Dax, they clean house, and a near team kill for UCLA, an actual team kill for UCLA as Arizona falls to some amazing synergy from UCLA.
You know, it occurs to me, I have mentioned a tiebreaker twice now, but I don't... With UCLA already having won the set, would we do a tiebreaker on 66 here?
We would, just to make sure that the map is played out entirely. It won't necessarily make a difference, like you said before, because they did win 3-0, but it is they are more than capable of moving into the final tiebreaker round.
Okay, so we do not let things end in ties here.
No, not at all. Arizona right here trying their best to push through. UCLA, however, is not letting them. Raxa and another Dax take out Yugs and Super Micro's Diva Mech.
They have set up a clinic of death. iProgress takes out Sing, but that's the only thing going the way of Arizona. iProgress needs to get out of there before he joins the body pile. Too little, too late.
Raxa gets that headshot on iProgress. I just want to notice how every single member for UCLA on that team fight got ridiculously low health, but Arizona was incapable of finishing them off because Sang and another Dax are doing such a good job of healing. Everyone's getting down to just such low HP, but then they bring them back from the brink of death, and no one actually dies for UCLA. That's 100% Sang and another Dax. They are the backbone of this team.
That's just going to be the power of the Moira. Denies death. Agent Snow wants to deny the High Noon. Ooh. Super Micro will do it, but the rest of UCLA making it happen.
Fantastic reaction from Agent Snow there. However, we see Pip right here with the Dragon Blade ultimate getting 2 clean kills, and Super Micro counters with his Diva ultimate and destroys two of UCLA as well.
Now it's up to Pip here trying to clean off this payload. No one left for Arizona, and that's going to be it. It was a noble final fight on Route 66. One of the closest that anyone's ever come to taking a match off UCLA. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
I am actually pretty impressed by Arizona, how they were capable of using that advantage to them. You said that they wanted to innovate, that they needed to innovate if they were going to take out UCLA, and they picked the Sombra, which is perfect for going invisible, coming up right behind on Raxa, or Pip in this case, on the Widowmaker, using the hack, not letting him use the grapple hook to get away, and getting the headshots that you need. We saw that happen a couple of times. So the Sombra actually coming in handy for the offense of Arizona, just fell a little bit short because of the tanks from UCLA did such a good job.
Just a touch there. It is worth mentioning this is the new Sombra from the patch dropped today. We do not have the luxury that the Overwatch League has of having our own special tournament servers. But no, this is the live, newly buffed version and already being applied very effectively by Arizona. That's as innovative as you get.
Yeah.
It dropped today.
We've seen a lot of Sombra, and they are immediately taking that and capitalizing that to their advantage. Previously, Sombra would not have been capable of doing the things that she is doing today. What they changed on Sombra is her circle radius where she shoots is now a lot smaller, so she's infinitely more accurate. She can charge more health packs. She can stay invisible longer, but the only downside that they gave her is her health packs no longer give her charges towards her ultimate progression.
Which is why we see her now being used in a very different context. Her strength is somewhere else entirely.
On offense, whereas previously she would be used to hack the defensive health packs. She was used, even more so, she was basically a defensive support hero, despite being classified as offense. No more. Now we see Sombra utilized in full force on offense and showing that Sombra is back in black and is flawless in defending, or rather capitalizing against those defensive Widowmakers that we see so frequently on these maps.
So it was cool to see Arizona bring out the new flanker on the block, but as you can see, ends up not mattering too much. The entire map selection painted UCLA's colors. We saw closer matches on Anubis and 66, but in the end, UCLA all the way.
UCLA coming out on top once again in their division. UCLA, the team to look out for. Arizona, University of Arizona rather, doing a really, really good job, doing the best as anyone ever has against UCLA, but still falling a little bit short to this ridiculously strong powerhouse that is UCLA, that is Raxa, that is Pip, that is the entire team, honestly. They just are so perfect.
You said it. Perfect.
Twice.
I am scared of the word perfect. I hate the word perfect.
Yeah, maybe not perfect, but as close as you can get to it. UCLA just doing a ridiculous good job.
And reliably, that is all there is to say about this matchup. Good fight by Arizona. I look forward to what they do for the rest of the PACG. But tonight, it's all UCLA. So we're going to cut to a short break before we bring you our third and final match of the evening.
We will see you guys in just a second. Don't go anywhere.